Thank you, Kevin. And I shamelessly also want to push Foxtails. So if you go to Kindle and type in Foxtails, one word, it'll come up. And for $2.99, I mean, like he said, you can't buy toilet paper for $2.99. So that's... I'm going to do a couple of different things tonight. Usually I read my poetry. I'm going to read a couple of poems. And then later in the evening, we're doing a presentation on Louder Than a Bomb, and you'll learn more about that. And I'm going to read a piece for that that inspired me. And the first piece is called Yesterday's Years Circle Around for the Kill. I've never been boyfriend material, always the great guy, nice guy, forever the good friend, not the hot example of muscles and money. And the last time I was cute, I was swaddled in diapers and drooling. How I've always heard, you're so smart, you're so talented, you're so alone. Yet I wondered how the other half lived. I knew those athletic types that made females swoon at their passing. Sure, I understood that many of them were not bright and could easily get lost in a round room. And when they spoke a full sentence, it was composed of 100% advertisement about their brawn, punctuated with grunts and groans. But the girlfriends ate them up like sugar. Then there were the bad boys I knew as cruel as a bed of nails, sporting fist punches of verbal insults, pounding on the tender emotions that was tangled up like a knotted muscle. They controlled the sunrise with the stretch of abuse, pride making them grow taller like useless erections. But some girls bought their pleas for forgiveness and promises of never again, or at least until the next time. And still, they trusted them like they were the only chance at love. When you're that young, when you're that young, love is a blueprint from broken fairy tales and impossible Hollywood portrayals of what true love should be like. Believing like scripture, the angst of lyrics on the top playlist hits. It took me numerous circles around this spinning planet to grow up and mature, develop stronger with understanding, really realize a few truths of life. I changed and danced forward and backward like some Darwinian theory. I know now that the real love is what you give yourself, and everyone else will fall into place like chapters in a well-written book. Today, I realize that even a train will go backwards on the same track sometimes, and life is like a staircase. Although you're at a higher level, the previous stairs are still parts of your climb. Thank you. I'll explain it later, but this was inspired by Louder Than a Bomb. It's called The First Time I Became Lost. Where did this life come from? I understand, like everyone else, about my mother and father. That's the easy part. The mathematics of becoming, the additions, subtractions, and multiplications are the simple answers. I'm not questioning about the cosmos. This is not contemplating the Big Bang Theory or swimming the thoughts of Darwin and the fish with lungs crawling from the ocean onto land to morph into monkeys and so forth. I mean, this moment that I am, the adult I've become, this pinpoint precise second, the now life I'm living between that heartbeat and this one. It's my history that has harmed me. My beginning was like your beginning. I was little like everyone else, the same kind of mere child. I had childish thoughts, kiddie dreams, and I wished up wishes, not gigantic wishes or humongous wishes, not enormous ones like one day I'd be president, or maybe an intergalactic astronaut, or the next big time long-haired rock star. I was wishing survival wishes, wishing for a way, some possible way to get by, to last just one more day, because when I was little, my mother died. When I was 5, and I was forced introduced to punishment, came face to face with a dark stranger called death, and then all I knew was my mother went away. I didn't know where, just away, taken away by God because I wasn't good. I was an original sin slop, paying for my boyhood sins, and I was scared, frightened like a shaken dog, a scolded mutt. I was far too young to have to comprehend this, too young to have to define the distance of where a way was on some vanishing map. I should have never had to learn about, I should have had to never learn about never coming back. All my days become lost things. All my hours swill down the drain into the sewer of goodbyes. I had no innocent anchor of the here and now. I was eternally being pulled into the past, because with all my moments running wild away from me, there was no comforting promise of just one more moment. I was force-fed the lesson that everything can change in a split second, and all my questions of here, there, and where became answerless questions. And everything that I once trusted became a place called gone. Thank you. Thank you. And my last piece, these are all brand new, which explains the stumbling. I wrote them this week, so please forgive me. This is called Morning from the Wrong Side of the Bed. Like clockwork, another day begins anew. The news of the world beating a path to my door, bitter fodder for tonight's diary entry. Reconstituted news growing old like a peeled banana, resting on the crumb-covered breakfast nook. One man's bowl of oatmeal is another man's milky desperation. The morning meal begins with the psychotic world shouting a twisted insanity of headlines. Fiction could never be as atrocious as humankind's treatment of one another. Channel Nothing endlessly replays in high-def color the mass shootings, car bomb explosions, Middle Eastern terrorist rampages, horrific rapes of humanity, and a myriad of other unimaginable crimes, so well imagined that they become everyday knowledge, a part of our psyche. We witnessed the wicked mechanisms of our tortured planet and helplessly grow numb in response. War as sport, bloodshed as commerce, disaster as entertainment. Redemption seems impossible with this frustrated mix bouncing down the hallways between my head and my heart. And an inescapable monster, insurmountable mountain of threatening concerns. I fret and pace like any other caring person, fearful of my tiny size, a little man with a hammer chipping away at the full moon. So hard for one little person to set a day off on the right foot with a head swimming with such dark debacles, a constant feed of bad news. I'm easily carried away by negative flow. In defense, I read the poetry of Rumi and Mary Oliver and pray a silent prayer for a tickle of sanity to enter my thought processes and mercy to scrub my weary emotions clean. I seek hope to pick me up from my abysmal view of my fellow world citizens. I pause in gratitude for the heroic sunrise, my gifted new day, light's defeat over darkness. I use the poetic metaphor and rewrap the world in a positive light. I sing the song of being fully alive and savor my moments. I request goodness, wonder, awe, and vision to stand like guards against the downbeat. Some days can be a sad ballad walk and others a victory dance. I am not the glass is half full person. I'm just thirsty for more. I attempt to remedy what is around me the best way I can, and for added measure as a talisman against harm, I bend and pet my cats, which in their pet mindfulness look past the craziness human beings create and focus on the beating heart of the present moment. Cats have a way of bringing peace into existence with each pleasurable purr. They remind me that the world is changed slowly, one breath at a time, one person at a time. Life goes on in between the friction. Strife you will always have with you. That is the way the world works. Thank you.